Hello, gentlemen, barbarians, savages. Rooster here. I'm going to talk to you today about the MGTOW yellow belt. Um, as I promised, you did your 200 hours, I'm sure. You watched all your videos. You should have come to a conclusion. You're right here, right? You're right here at the yellow belt. You're getting ready to start your path down the MGTOW path. And here's the spot where you're at, right here, right where the divergence is from the traditional to you going your own way. You want to start going your own way, right? Well, if you watched those videos like I told you to, and you looked at the masters, and you did at least 200 hours, you should come to the conclusion that marriage is really not for you. And that's kind of the definition of where you're at as a yellow belt. You might be in a long-term relationship, you might have a girlfriend, but you really, in order to go your own way, you have to come down to the conclusion that you are not going to get married because there is nothing in it for you in today's society. Okay? You're going to reject the yoke, which is your first step towards getting your financial independence. You're going to reject marriage, and until they change it, the gynocentric society that we live in, there's no reason for a man to get married. There's absolutely no advantage to it. The divorce rate for first marriage is 40%. For second marriage, 60%. For third marriage, it's 80%. So it just doesn't work. And knowing what you know now about female nature, hypergamy, Refalse law, and solipsism, you come to the understanding that there's no way to win. It's a no-win situation. So, as I said before, these videos are going to be an applied nature. I'm not really into intellectual masturbation, and we can talk about theory all day long, and I have done videos on theory, and there's a lot of guys out there. I'm going to talk about applied science and what you can do and how you can survive this turmoil. So I'm going to assume you're either a 20-year-old guy and you're living with someone at this point since you're a yellow belt, and maybe she's talking about getting married, or you're a guy that's 60 and has been married for 40 years. And the last time you went on a date was 1986, and now you're out there, you got dumped, or she divorced you, or maybe she died, and you're out there in the world again, thinking that you want to date. So, as a yellow belt, that's where I'm going to assume that you're coming from. So, what tactical tools can you use to prevent yourself from getting married again? Let's say you're in an LTR right now. Well, here's the easy way. First off, don't buy a ring. Women cannot marry themselves. You have to be a party to whatever caper they're trying to pull off. Okay? You're the mark. Don't buy a ring. Don't get down on your knee. Don't ask her to marry you. And don't set a date. There's 3 big tools that you have right there, and those are all from you. Don't buy a ring. Don't get down on your knee. Don't ask her to marry you. And don't allow her to set a date, and don't set a date. Okay? So now you've set up a situation where you have this in your head. You're not getting married. So now you're in this long-term relationship, and it can go on fat, dumb, and happy for years and years and years and years. What you have accomplished as a yellow belt now is you've rejected that marriage. You don't have the legal consequences. Now, some of the things that she's going to use to try to get you to marry her is maybe try to get knocked up. So you got to watch out for that. Peer pressure, family pressure, She may come right out and do an ultimatum. That's what I get. That's what I used to get a lot of times as an ultimatum. Will you marry me, or, and you just say, or what? Or you'll leave? Okay. I guess you don't really love me after all. If marriage is more important than being together, then you put yourself in a dichotomy. You want to be married so bad that you're going to leave a guy who loves you? That doesn't make sense. It makes sense if you love marriage, you love the idea of marriage, and that's what women have from a very, very young age, is they need that socialization. Okay? Just like in the I love you paradox, the marriage paradox is the exact same thing. They need to get up there, they need the social, they need the family approval. They could be millionaires in their career and have a great life and a yacht and all that stuff, but if they're not married, they feel like they're failures. They need that socialization. Don't give it to them. It's not your job. It's not your responsibility to make her dreams come true. It's your responsibility to make your dreams come true. Okay. So, two things. Separate finances. That's the first thing. If you're a yellow belt, the first thing that you got to get in, you got to reject the yoke. You got to reject marriage, embrace your passion, separate finances, even get a different mailing address, use a post office box, okay? Even common law marriage, you can live with a woman, I think it's 7.5 years before you have any legal consequences whatsoever, okay? So let's talk about the three things that you're going to see in the LTR and how to avoid them. The first thing is the thing I call the list. Okay? The list is, everybody knows what the list is. It's the things that you got to do. The things, when Friday night rolls around, you get the list handed to you. Honey, we need to paint the house this weekend. Honey, we need to go to my mom's house. Honey, we have a funeral. Honey, we have a wedding for my college girlfriend. Honey, we have all of this to-do list for you. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about me. I did the list for about 6 months with one of these girls, and I thought, I'll work really hard. I'll get all of this stuff done, all of these things that she wants done, and then I'll be done with it, and then the rest of my life will be fat, dumb, and happy. No. Here's the secret about the list. When you mark the biggest thing off the list, the next thing moves up to the top of the list, and something fills in the bottom. And no matter how many things you work off the top of that list, the next thing is going to build her way up. That list might get down after 20 years of her working on you and riding your ass. That list may get down to, she doesn't like the way you brush your teeth at night. I mean, it could get down to that. It could go from, you're an alcoholic and you need to stop drinking 20 years ago, and she works that out of you, all the way down to 20 years later, she doesn't like when you brush your teeth, or how you brush your teeth, or how you tie your shoes, or whatever. The most minute little thing. But the things that I get, that I used to get. If your hair's short, she wants it long. If you have a beard, she wants you to shave. If you shave, she wants you to have a beard. If you dress functionally, she wants you to dress fashionably. It's just anything basically to fuck with you. Now, I did the list, and then I gave it 6 months, and it didn't work, and shit kept getting put on the list. I stopped outright. Just stopped. Now, there's another tool that you can use, and that's called low-hanging fruit. And I love this tool for the list because it gives them something to make you think that you're working on it, right? I'm a gambler. I'm a football fanatic. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. I work out too much. Whatever it is, find some low-hanging fruit, something that that you're not going to change about yourself, and then put it out there all the time. Put it out there in her face so that she can work on it. If you know that you're not an alcoholic, tell her you're an alcoholic. Tell her, oh, I've been having problems with my drinking. I just think I'm drinking too much. And then whenever she comes over, have a couple beers in front of her. And then she'll be like, do you think you should be drinking? Do you think you should be doing it? Oh, I know, honey. It's just a couple, And she'll get it off of her chest. It's low-hanging fruit, something for her to bitch about, If you like your golf on Saturday, I had a chick that freaking hated golf, and I had golf tournaments every Saturday, right? So she was constantly trying to get me, and I kept it. I kept playing golf. I kept playing golf, and I kept playing golf. And it gave her absolutely something to bitch about. If I would have stopped playing golf to make her happy, something else would have moved up onto the list. So here's the thing. Keep doing what you want to do and put it in her face so that she has something to bitch about. That's what you do. You give her low-hanging fruit. Okay? That's how you deal with the list. So there's the first tactic that they use, the game called the list, and your response to the list is low-hanging fruit. You can feign some weakness that you have if you need to, or if it's something that you like to do, just put it out there and put it in her face. I like my bowling league on Wednesday nights, and I don't care if that's the night that you do whatever you do. I'm going to keep bowling. Put it in her face so she has something to bitch about. All right. The next thing that I want to talk about for your financials, if you're in an LTR, right, to avoid getting married, is the bullseye theorem. Okay. The bullseye theorem works something like this. Men, over time, when you're 18 years old, you're making, $350 a week, minimum wage. And, then you get that first raise. So here's the bullseye, right? Then you get that first raise. Now your financial assets get a little bit bigger. And then when you're 25, they're a little bit bigger. Then when you're 35, they're bigger. And then when you're 45, they're bigger. And then when you're 55, you're going to continue to make more money over your lifetime. So the pie is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger, starting out from that first bullseye, right? Women use the bullseye theory as a method of resource extraction. They can quantify where you're at on the bullseye, and they can quantify if you are using up that full potential, right? That's why I'm saying have separate money. So it looks like your bullseye is smaller. What they're going to try to get into your head is, oh, you made more money, buy more stuff. Now you can get a boat. Now you can get me a car now and pay insurance and all that stuff on my car. You can buy this stuff. Oh, now I have money for shoes. No, this isn't your money. This is my money. Okay? So, but sometimes if the money is in an account and you know it's there, or you have a shared account, she knows it's there. She will spend it. She will use it. She will find a way to get your money from you. Okay? So keep your footprint or your bullseye small. Put your money away somewhere where she can't have it. Have separate finances. Have a separate account. You may even have a joint account together, but then have another account that you put half your paycheck in that she doesn't know about. So she thinks you're still making $600 a week, but you might be making $1,500 a week or $2,000 a week, whatever it is. You're putting the rest of that money away. When you get a raise, put that raise money away so that she has to continue living on what she met you with, and you continue building assets. Then later on, if she hits the ejector switch and kicks you out, you have money. You have a way to continue, right? So that's the second way. That's the bullseye theorem. That's your second way that they're going to come after you. And the way that you deal with that is have separate finances and control her tendency to be, Lady Macbeth. She wants to use you to climb the ladder, and she wants to use your resources. Now, the third thing that you need to know about a woman that you're living with in an LTR is what her number is. And you know, it's not the number. It's not what you think it is. It's not the number of guys that she slept with. That's not the number. That's not the number. It's not the, you know, everybody talks today about the number you slept with compared to the number she slept with. That's not the number. The number that you need to know is the number of kids that she wants to have. I said that I was married before. I married my high school sweetheart. I still remember my ex-wife's number. My ex-wife's number is 2. Okay? The number of kids that she had with me was 0 because I knew that her number was 2. My number was 0. Okay? But knowing her number is important. Why? Because of Briefalt's law. And I'm going to show you something right here. Briefalt's law and the ejector seat right here. Now the bottom down here is age. That's not your age. That's the age of children that your girlfriend or your wife has had. And this is the ejector seat rate. Now you'll notice at the age of 5, when the youngest child reaches the age of 5, that ejector rating goes up. It usually, the ejector rating overall, this is rate, is around 2% at all times. It skyrockets to almost 20% at the age between 4, 5, and 6. And then it does it again when the kids get to be 18 to 20. Now, why in the world would that be? Why do breakups and divorces and do women leave men when their youngest child reaches the ages 4, 5, and 6 and 18, 19, and 20? Simple. That's when kids start going to school, right? When the kid gets old enough to walk and talk and go to school, school becomes the daycare system. Mama knows she can send her 6-year-old kid off to school and she can go get a job and she doesn't need daddy anymore. So she can divorce his ass after 5 years, after the kid gets to be 5 years old, right? Because the kid's going to be in school, I can work during the day shift, pick up my kids after school, have all my home time, and still get child support from him. And then it happens again at 18. Why? Because that's when the kids are out of the house. A lot of Christians and religious people will stay together for the kids. But then as soon as the kids turn 18, boom, divorce rate and Briefalt's law ejection rate goes through the roof. So, it's important that you know her number. Because once she gets to her number, you got 5 years. Okay? If you're in a long-term relationship and you've been with a girl for living with you for 2 years, okay, and you know her number's 3, she has a kid, okay, keep talking about pregnancy or whatever. I wouldn't do it personally, but you got like 5 years until that kid reaches 5, and then she's going to boot you and maybe find another beta male, or she may stay with you and have a second kid or a third kid. But I guarantee you, once she gets to her number, if it's 1 kid, if it's 2 kids, if it's 3 kids, once she has her number of kids that she wants, you got 5 years until you're going to get booted or you're going to become a slave. And when I'm talking about 3 kids slave, you're going to become a big-time slave. Because you're not going to be doing anything except working for future weddings and future college that you're going to have to pay for, and baseball and Cub Scouts and freaking everything. You're going to be a slave and you're going to be tied into that yoke forever. Whether you're married or not. Okay? Because daddy government is going to come down on you. Alright? So that's the 3 things that they do. They use the list, they use the bullseye theorem, and you got to know the woman's number. Now, what can you do as a yellow belt to protect yourself? For those specific things, I told you the things you can do. Don't let her get pregnant. Know her number. Hide your resources, and don't play the list game, right? But in a general standpoint, I'm going to give you 3 other katas that you can learn. And these will expand as you go on to green belt, as you go to blue belt, as you go on to brown belt, and as you go on to black belt, because they are constants. From here on, you want to remember these 3 things: time, distance, and shielding. Time, distance, and shielding. Okay, whenever you come across a woman in your life in any way, your girlfriend, your mom, the lady at the bank, the lady at the grocery store, your boss is a woman, you have coworkers. Remember these 3 things: time, distance, and shielding. Time. This is the first one. When dealing with women, they are going to try to waste your time. Do not let them waste your time. Waste their time if you need to, but do not let them waste your time. Now, how do you control your time? How do you control your schedule? Okay, how do you become schedule independent and time independent from women? Okay, gaslighting, flaking on them, and straight up blowing them off. Okay, if there's no interest to you, if they're not in any way have any control over you, if they're not your boss, do the straight up blow off. Just freaking ignore them. Don't deal with them at all. If you have to deal with them, flake on them as much as possible. And flaking is basically make plans and then don't keep them. Make plans and then something came up. Make plans and then something else came up. Make plans and then something else came up. And eventually they will give up because you are wasting their time over and over and over again. And then gaslighting is just changing reality. They're going to try to change reality on you, so you just say, "Oh, I never said that," or I didn't do that. What are you talking about? You're crazy. I don't have time for that. I'm busy. I'm busy right now. I have to do this. I have to go. Or, if the lady at the grocery store is trying to make time with you or fuck with you or whatever, say, I really need to get my groceries. I need to get out of here, lady. I got a doctor's appointment in 5 minutes. Do you have a doctor's appointment? Probably not. Who cares? Gaslighting, flaking on them, and blowing them off. 3 tools that you can use as a yellow belt. Gaslight, flake, blow off. Right? To not have them waste your time. Okay? Second thing, distance. Right? You're in an LTR. We're assuming that you're not full-on MGTOW, self-actualized yet, right? If you're going to do that, make sure you don't freaking date people that are in the same town. I wouldn't even date anyone within 30 miles of where you live. Okay? Keep them at a distance. Keep them as far away as possible so that it costs them resources and time to get to you, to bother you. Okay? But if you need them to come over, 3 times a week, 20 minutes at a time to get your nut off, they're still close enough that they can do that. And then they got to get out of there. They can't stay the night because it's too far for them to drive the next day for them to get to work. Right? Don't waste your resources and go to her house. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time driving over there. Make her drive to you. Use distance to your advantage. It's just like in Kung Fu. You have to be able to close distance when you want to and keep distance away from your enemy when they want to close distance on you, right? Shielding. That's the third one. Physical shielding is perfect. Don't touch them. Don't, when you get on the bus or you get in public transport or you get in a van with them or something like that, make sure you sit next to guys. Make sure that you're up against a wall and you have a guy on the other side. Don't sit next to them. If you can, if you're in the office, don't get cubicles with them. Use physical shielding, physical barriers to put between you and them. Okay. The other kind of shielding is, and I say this is the 4 types of shielding that you use. Since you are an LTR, right? You're going to use, long-term relationships. Don't fuck your neighbors. Don't fuck your coworkers. Don't fuck your boss. and don't fuck friends of friends. Okay? That cuts out a lot. Basically, all you're doing is fucking strangers. Don't fuck your neighbors. Don't shit where you eat. Don't fuck your coworkers. Don't shit where you eat. Don't fuck your boss. Don't shit where you eat. And don't fuck friends of friends, because you're going to end up fucking over your friends. Now, so that's your three tools that you're going to take on all the way to black belt. Time, distance, and shielding. Those right there are the yellow belt versions. When we get to the green belt and the blue belt, I'll talk about more complex versions of time, distance, and shielding that you can use to protect yourself. But that's all you need to know right now. Also at the yellow belt point right now, and I kind of didn't say it before, this is when you need to stack cash. Really, you need to stack cash. And there's sayings out there that, like chase money, not women. Fundamentally true at this stage. Eventually, when you get to later stages in MGTOW, you won't even chase money. You won't need to. But if you haven't, you need probably now to stack cash right now, because you've probably been resource vultured at this stage in your MGTOW life cycle. You've probably been resource vultured enough that you don't have a lot of extra cash on the side, right? What else? Okay. The other thing that you need to remember as a yellow belt, you might want to write this one down because this is a big one, is you now come to the realization that nothing lasts forever. Okay? And things that end usually end badly. Because if they didn't end badly, they wouldn't end. If they were still good, they would not end, right? So one, nothing lasts forever. And two, things that end usually end badly. And I know that you're trained and you've been brainwashed by all these romantic comedies that things always end in a happy ending, and you always ride off into the sunset, with the girl and the new car and all that stuff. That's not real life. And that brings us up to our last little section to remember. There's 3 categories that I want you to start observing, okay, as a yellow belt. That's desire and discipline. Okay? Lowering your desire and increasing your discipline. And discipline is probably not what you think it is. I talked to a guy who's a boxer one time, and I said, you don't have any discipline whatsoever. He's like, I don't have any discipline. I do this every day, and I had to cut 30 pounds to, make weight for this fight, and I didn't eat for, almost 45 days to do this and that. And I said, no, I didn't say that you don't have willpower. I said you don't have discipline. And that's a difference. Willpower is something that you can do temporarily to get what you want. And even women have willpower. Discipline is the guy who fasts every Sunday for 25 years. Okay? That's discipline. Every Sunday, Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, he doesn't eat, doesn't do anything except drink water for that 7th day of the week. Every single week. That's discipline. So I want you to start looking out into the world, and I want you to see desire and discipline. And what you'll notice is as people lower their desire, the social show, like I was saying, women that get married, they want the show. The whole idea is not being with you for the rest of your life. That's not why they're getting married. They're getting married for the party. They want the big party, the big day to show off for their friends and take pictures and to make them feel like they're something because they got married. Now, a week later, they probably have buyer's remorse, and the big day is over. And now they're in a marriage, and they have to deal with it. But lowering desire and raising discipline. Okay? Fashion and function. I want you to start observing out in society what is fashion and what is function. Okay? Function is the guy who wears steel-toed wool boots, because his truck breaks down in the winter a lot, and he might have to walk to a gas station. Okay? The woman who's with him is wearing high heels and no socks. Okay? She's going to freeze to death. But she's very fashionable. Okay? Fashion and function. And look at how women totally lean towards fashion and men totally lean towards function. And you want to have almost entirely functional things in your life. And, you know, makeup, lipstick, hair weaves, fake boobs, spray-on tanner, high heels, jewelry. Are any of those at all functional? Is there any function to them at all other than to catch a man's attention? There's no function. There's no function to them at all. It's all fashion. Okay? And that's going to lead into the third thing that I want you to try to observe, and that's real and fake. Okay? What out there is fake and what out there is real? And just say, you know, why? Ask yourself that question as a yellow belt. Okay? What is fake? What's going on in our society that's fake, contrived, made up, fictional? And what is real? What is the fundamentals? What is real? Okay? That's your applied science. Let me do a real quick overview. Take about 30 seconds. Okay? You're a yellow belt. You have rejected the yoke. You have rejected marriage. Okay? If you haven't done those, you're not a yellow belt yet. Go back and watch some more videos. Get rid of your wife. Do whatever you need to do. In order to move on down the path, you need to be a yellow belt. You need to reject the yoke and you need to reject marriage. Okay? Now, if you've done that, here's the 3 things that you have to look for in your long-term relationship that these women are going to use to extract resources from you and time. They're going to use the list. Okay? When they use the list, you use low-hanging fruit. Okay? They're going to use the bullseye theorem to determine what your resources are. You're going to hide your resources and you're going to have separate finances so that they can't get to them. Okay? They have a number. They are the ones that have kids. They have a number. The number of kids that they're going to have, maybe 1, 2, 3. You need to get with whatever woman that you're with right now and find out what that number is. Because that number is going to tell you when your ejector seat on Briffault's law is coming. Okay? And I already showed that right here. Okay? And then your overall general defenses are time, distance, and shielding. Okay? Don't let them waste your time. Waste their time. Gaslight, flake, blow off. Distance, get them out of town, get them away from you, get them going in a different direction, whatever you need to do. And shielding, no neighbors, no coworkers, no bosses, no friends of friends. Okay? Alright. That is all I have for yellow belts. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that there's some stuff here that you can use. I have used all of these techniques in my life, and they work implicitly. They are very, very good tools to keep you from getting married and to keep you from getting your wallet raped. Okay? If you have any comments, put them down there. If you want to argue with me or whatever, put it down in the comment section. I welcome it. Bring it on. And gentlemen, that's all I have today. As always, take it easy.